NASA today released the findings from its year-long study of UFOs, and, well, it doesn't really clear anything up.
The most shocking UFO events that will leave you speechless. In 1962, amidst the tense Cold War, the United States and the Soviet Union fiercely competed to dominate air and space technology.
No footage. I mean, here's a plane that's bristling with all kinds of cameras. If a film exists of what's going on outside that cockpit of an object, you can bet that will never see the light of day.
But what if I told you there were events even NASA couldn't explain? Occurrences so strange and startling, they could alter everything we think we know about our sky? Step into the world of the unexplained. Are you ready to uncover the truth that awaits? Speeds beyond imagination. One of the brave pilots leading these X-15 missions was Major Robert White. He was no stranger to danger, having fought in 3 different wars. He made history by flying at a mind-blowing speed of over 4,000 miles per hour, faster than any human had ever traveled before. Along with other daring pilots, White soared to new heights and speeds that were once thought impossible. Their flights would start on a B-52 Mothership, which carried them to 45,000 feet before the X-15's engines would take over. Until everything went wrong. On one incredible flight, he reached nearly 60 miles above the Earth, flying at an astounding 3,800 miles per hour. But something totally unexpected happened. He spotted unidentified objects hovering near his plane. These weren't just quick flashes.
It's a great surprise. Doesn't expect to see anything up there.
One object even seemed to follow his aircraft as he sped through the upper atmosphere. White was left wondering about the size, distance, and nature of these mysterious objects, unsure if they were a threat. There were rumors that at least one of the onboard cameras had caught footage of these objects. Oddly enough, that footage was said to be lost, never made public. This raised even more questions, especially since the X-15 was equipped with plenty of cameras that should have captured something. NASA tried to offer an explanation, suggesting that what White saw might have been ice crystals. These could have formed due to the plane's unique propulsion system, which used supercooled liquid nitrogen. At such high altitudes, these ice crystals might reflect sunlight and appear as bright, fleeting shapes.
I don't know what it was, but it certainly, as far as we know, wasn't anything of ours.
But even he wasn't fully convinced by this answer, given the strange conditions of the flight. In the upper atmosphere, where there's almost no air, it was hard to believe these crystals could just float alongside the plane. What White witnessed that day still challenges our understanding of technology and the mysteries of the upper atmosphere and space. NASA continues to encounter new phenomena as it explores the cosmos, and questions about his experience remain just as intriguing today. Weather experts examined climate records but found no usual patterns to explain a strange noise. As they searched for answers, scientists suspected a link to the northern lights caused by cosmic radiation. NASA launched 5 probes called FAMOUS to investigate. The data revealed that solar storms disrupt Earth's magnetic field, creating bursts of cosmic energy. Scientist Vasilis Angelopoulos dubbed this event a spacequake, capable of producing sound waves in space. Spacequakes produce vibrations that fall within the range of human hearing, though they're electromagnetic, not sound waves like we're used to. Space is filled with these vibrations, which, if we could hear them, would sound like a hum or noise. But you'd have to leave Earth to actually hear them, because only the magnetic parts make it through our atmosphere, while the sound gets lost before reaching us. So far, NASA's work on spacequakes hasn't helped explain the mysterious noises heard here on Earth. But the investigation isn't over. An air traffic controller once got a strange radio message about an unknown object flying near a plane just before the plane vanished. This caught the attention of a senior NASA scientist. On October 21, 1978, at 7 o'clock in the evening, the Melbourne Air Traffic Control Center in Australia received a call from a trainee pilot named Frederick Valentich. He was flying off the coast of Australia when he saw something strange hovering above his plane. It didn't look like any normal aircraft, and the controller, Steve Roby, couldn't find any scheduled flights in that area. Valentich's descriptions of the object got weirder, saying it was metallic, large, and had bright lights. Valentich's last radio message described strange metallic noises before the transmission cut off, lasting for 17 seconds. No one at air traffic control had heard anything like it before. After the incident, neither Valentich nor his plane were ever found. The government launched an investigation, but couldn't figure out what had happened. Frustrated, Valentich's family turned to NASA scientist Richard Haynes, who specialized in UFO research. Haynes took on the case, calling it the Melbourne episode, and worked on it alongside his NASA duties. He looked into every lead, from the plane's maintenance records to talking with anyone connected to the event. Months later, Haynes found something that the original investigation missed: a photo taken the same day, about 60 miles away, showing an unidentified object over the sea.
The metallic sounds might possibly be the contact of a disc, let's say, or a vehicle of some kind on his airplane.
While Haynes was initially doubtful about the photo's authenticity, he realized it could lead to new insights. Since the photo was taken so close in time and location to Valentich's sighting, Haynes thought there might be a connection. He focused on the unusual metallic sounds from Valentich's last message, which made this case stand out from other similar incidents. In 1987, Haynes came up with a new theory. The metallic noises could be linked to the strange object Valentich had seen. During a flight, the pilot thought he might have had an unusual encounter, possibly with an unidentified object near his plane. While this sounds unlikely, it's something we can't completely rule out. He even suggested that he might have been taken by beings from another world or advanced civilization, which seems like a stretch, but it's still worth considering. What lies ahead is as uncertain as the objects Major White encountered, inviting us to delve into the next phase of this cosmic puzzle, the night that confounded experts. Later, other researchers, including James Magaya, a former U.S. Air Force pilot and astronomer, looked into it. They offered a more down-to-earth explanation, though it remains unproven. Magaya believed that the four lights the pilot saw could have been the planets Mercury, Venus, Mars, and the bright star Antares. Venus, in particular, was shining brightly that night and might have caught the pilot's attention. It's possible this led the pilot into a slow, gentle spiral. Over time, that spiral could have gotten tighter and faster, causing the pilot to lose control of the plane. The sound heard on the microphone might have been the plane breaking apart due to the stress of this spiral, but no one knows for sure. The investigation, led by Haynes, suggests that the plane likely crashed into the ocean, but since there's no concrete proof,
caught his attention were Mercury, Venus, Mars, and the bright star Antares.
Other ideas like alien interference are still on the table, leaving the case unsolved. But that wasn't the only strange observation in the skies. In 2012, NASA's Kepler telescope spotted two planets orbiting a distant star in the Cygnus constellation, in a way that didn't make sense. These planets had orbits that were highly tilted compared to the star's equator, leaving scientists scratching their heads. Some even wondered if these planets could be giant artificial structures, as their size was enormous, much larger than even the Death Star from Star Wars. If true, this would indicate an advanced level of technology far beyond anything humans could create. To explain this odd behavior, scientists proposed the idea that there might be a massive hidden planet named Kepler 56d, which could be 3 to 4 times bigger than Jupiter. This enormous planet could be exerting its gravitational pull on the other planets, causing their orbits to act strangely. However, this cosmic mystery has a deadline. In about 130 million years, the star will expand and engulf these planets, leaving only Kepler 56d to survive the fiery end. Space can hold even deeper mysteries.
You have to wonder, are we looking at something else besides conventional planets? Are they really planets? Are they artificial?
In December 1998, NASA astronauts on a mission to help construct the International Space Station encountered something unexpected. While working, astronauts Jerry Ross and Jim Newman saw an unusual object and, following NASA's protocol, attempted to capture it on camera. The sighting sparked interest, particularly among UFO enthusiasts who linked it to the mysterious Black Knight satellite. Speculation about this object has existed since the early days of space exploration, with theories ranging from alien origins to secret projects. Even now, it continues to fuel curiosity and debate. The Black Knight satellite is often surrounded by mystery, but it's not the only unexplained object seen in space. There's a common misconception that just because we have something, we know exactly where it came from and what it's for. However, Jerry Ross didn't buy into the big theories about this satellite and believed there was a much simpler reason for its existence. One time, Jim was tasked with attaching a thermal blanket to the outside of the space station. The blanket was meant to protect the station from the cold of space. Jim finished his own work early and passed the blanket off to someone else to finish the job. But while it was being secured, someone noticed something strange. The blanket had come loose and was drifting away, a small black dot against the vast darkness of space. People quickly blamed human error, saying that the blanket had been accidentally released.
Jim was supposed to put a thermal blanket on the outside of the station to protect it from heat loss.
There was no talk of aliens or anything like that. A thermal blanket, especially when not reflective, could easily blend into the blackness of space and look like one of those mysterious objects often reported. But not every sighting of the so-called Black Knight satellite had such a simple explanation. As far back as the 1950s, there were reports of strange objects orbiting Earth. And these objects weren't from the US or the Soviet Union. Bill Young, an astronomer from Arizona, spent his career watching for any objects near Earth that might pose a danger. In September 2002, he spotted something bright moving around Earth. Its fast speed and unusual path, which matched Earth's own orbit, sent waves through the scientific community. At first, they thought it was an asteroid, which could be a huge concern because asteroids have the potential to cause massive destruction, much like the one that wiped out the dinosaurs. But this object didn't act like a regular asteroid. Instead of following the typical path of asteroids, which usually orbit between Mars and Jupiter, this one had a strange and unpredictable course. It orbited Earth several times, flew around the sun, and then came back. The Jet Propulsion Lab got involved and used an infrared telescope in Hawaii to study it more closely. What they found was surprising. The object was covered in industrial paint, specifically titanium dioxide, which is often used on spacecraft. Now things were even more confusing. If this was just a piece of space junk, it was in a very odd place. Further investigation showed that the entire 60-foot object was coated in this white paint, similar to what's used on rocket parts. After studying its path and makeup, a theory emerged.
Able to calculate backward and determine that this object...
This wasn't an asteroid at all, but a discarded part of the Saturn V rocket from the Apollo 12 mission that had somehow found its way back into Earth's orbit. But even with this logical explanation, not everyone was convinced. Some people felt the conclusion was too convenient. The debate didn't end there, and the mystery of the Black Knight satellite continued to spark discussions, with people still questioning what the object truly was, even as late as September 2006. The space shuttle Atlantis was about to return to Earth after spending 12 days helping build the International Space Station. Everything seemed normal until something unexpected caught the crew's attention. The shuttle's commander, Brent Jett, saw something strange outside the spacecraft. It looked like a shiny object, but it wasn't solid or metallic, unlike anything he had seen in space before. This unusual sight made Mission Control take control of the shuttle's camera to get a better look. As the camera zoomed in, things became even more interesting. At first, there were 3 objects visible, but soon 2 more appeared, forming a triangle in space. These objects flashed and moved together for about 20 minutes, while Atlantis followed them, sending live footage back to Earth. Engineers at Mission Control quickly reviewed the footage, trying to figure out what these objects were. As the mysteries of our universe unfold, new enigmas await in the depths of space, ready to challenge our perceptions yet again. Decoding the triangle of space objects, the media quickly picked up the story, and soon everyone was talking about it. Since astronauts are usually seen as reliable sources, the public and experts alike were very curious. Many people connected the triangular formation to UFOs, which only added to the excitement. NASA, however, suggested that the objects were probably just space debris reflecting sunlight, but not everyone believed this explanation. Some thought it was a little too convenient. Still cautious after the tragic Columbia shuttle accident, NASA paid close attention to any debris that might be a danger to Atlantis. There were even concerns that a part of the shuttle could have broken off. To be safe, they delayed Atlantis' return to Earth so they could carefully check the shuttle's heat shield and overall condition. But this wasn't the worst part. It was soon found that Atlantis had been hit by a small micrometeorite. It wasn't clear if this had anything to do with the strange triangle of objects seen earlier. After making sure the shuttle was safe, the green light was given for Atlantis to return home, and the landing went smoothly. Meanwhile, in Arizona, an astronomer named Jim Scotty had his own mystery to solve. He had heard about an unusual comet and decided to take a look with his telescope. The comet had a long, thin tail and a strange structure near its head. The space agency got involved and used the Hubble Space Telescope to study the comet more closely.
Got a long, narrow tail and a little funny business going on around the head of the comet. It's really hard to tell exactly what's going on, but something is interesting there.
Hoping to find out more about this odd object in space, NASA's scientists were astonished when they received images from the large 8-foot mirror, revealing something completely unexpected. Initially, they found it hard to believe what they were seeing. In each image, a strange X shape appeared that seemed out of place. Unlike anything previously observed in space, the scientists questioned what could cause such an X in space. The object was moving at an incredible speed of around 11,000 miles per hour, and it was enormous, over 1,500 miles wide. Its size and velocity did not align with anything natural or man-made. Astronomer J.J. Cavallars carefully analyzed the data, considering the possibility that two asteroids had collided, producing the unusual shape, though he acknowledged that this was merely a hypothesis. As this bright X shot through space at over 15 times the speed of sound, more questions arose. Could this be a message from another civilization? While NASA continued their investigation, some thought that the answer might be hidden in the agency's past. On December 9, 1965, a bright fireball streaked across the evening sky over Pennsylvania, moving so fast that thousands of people saw it as it traveled from Canada into the United States. At first, it was thought to be a big meteor, but things quickly changed when reports from Kecksburg, a small town in Pennsylvania, described something different, a controlled landing in the woods. The people of Kecksburg were shocked to see an acorn-shaped object, about 8 to 10 feet in size, glowing with a purple-blue light. It also had strange symbols on it that no one could understand. The military soon arrived, blocking off the area and even keeping local police away.
They show up, they cordon off the area. Even the Pennsylvania state troopers who were called to the site, they were thrown off.
Unmarked military trucks came in, adding to the confusion of those who had witnessed the event. Locals questioned why a space agency would get involved in something like this, as rumors circulated that the object had been taken away on a military truck. Despite many credible eyewitness accounts, for over 40 years, the official story remained that nothing significant had been found. However, stories about an unidentified object in Kecksburg persisted. Then in 2003, a scientist denied any possibility that foreign debris had landed there. However, things took a surprising turn in 2005 when the agency admitted that their scientists had actually examined metal pieces from a Soviet space probe that crashed. But when people tried to get more details, they hit a wall. Documents about the event were not available, leaving many wondering what really happened that night in Kecksburg. There were supposed to be 2 boxes of documents related to the Kecksburg incident, but over the past 40 years, they seem to have disappeared. No one knows for sure if these missing papers held any important details about what was found that night in Kecksburg. While it's unclear what exactly was recovered, one thing is certain. The government quickly took it and has stayed quiet ever since, avoiding any deeper investigation. At the same time, the space agency has been searching for signs of life throughout our solar system. For example, during the Messenger mission to Mercury, none of the scientists expected to find life. But for Professor Sean Solomon, the spacecraft's final approach was still a huge moment. After 8 years of waiting, the team was thrilled when it finally entered orbit around Mercury.
We all breathed a sigh of relief. The team just exploded with delight. We were there, and it was working.
As Messenger circled the planet's north pole, It discovered something surprising, higher than expected levels of hydrogen, suggesting there could be thick layers of water ice. This was a big surprise because people always thought Mercury was too hot for ice to exist there. But it turns out the ice was found only in specific craters, which stay cool enough to preserve it. These craters are in permanent shadow with temperatures plunging to around minus 300 degrees Fahrenheit, cold enough to keep the ice frozen for a very long time. But the surprising discovery didn't stop there. On top of the ice, scientists found a dark material, similar to coal. They believe this material contains organic compounds which might be key to life and could even have come from space. This led to the idea that comets, made of ice and organic materials, may have crashed into Mercury and left these elements behind. Now think about this. Mercury is one of the hottest planets in our solar system, and yet thanks to these rare comet crashes and its unusual craters, there could still be ice. But this wasn't the strangest part. The origin of the ice raised even more questions for scientists, sparking a whole new line of inquiry. What if Major Robert White actually encountered extraterrestrial technology during his flight? Do you think it's possible, or is it all just misinterpretations? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more thought-provoking content.